When I was thinking of doing this, one of the things I thought about, and it happens quite a bit on television, there's a movie, oh, my grandfather's moving in with me, and we're going to have to look after him. And, he's 74 years old and things like that. And that stereotype that grandparents and older people really, after retirement, there's nothing left for them to do. I want to make sure we destroy that totally and educate all generations, actually, that there's lots of things that we can do, and we can get involved, and we can get out of our comfort zone and try new things.
Welcome to Aging in Style, the podcast dedicated to celebrating aging and what it takes to do it well. I'm Lori Williams. I'm a certified senior advisor and senior housing expert. In each episode, you'll learn stories of older adults who are thriving in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and in some cases in their hundreds. Whether you're an older adult or the child of an older adult, this podcast is filled with insightful resources, organizations that are doing incredible work, and stories that will inspire you to volunteer, learn, and who knows, maybe even skydive in your golden years. Hi, welcome to Aging in Style. Okay, I've been trying for probably about a month, I think. We've been trying to connect schedules with this next guest. His name is Bob Fletcher, and he is on the Octogenarian Odyssey. And okay, this is amazing. He is riding a bicycle from Alaska to Panama, and he's staying in Airbnbs along the way. And he is 80 years old, just turned 80 in August. And he's an adventure cyclist from Alberta, Canada. We're just going to get into talking to him because I have so many questions, and I'm sure you all do too. So welcome, Bob Fletcher.
Well, thank you very much. So happy to be with you. We tried to schedule this for a month or so, and life on the road, trying to meet deadlines and get to places has created a problem, and especially when we ran into a hurricane a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, a hurricane will stop you in your tracks, right? You have several goals for doing this, and one of the things I know is that you're trying to break the existing world record for the longest journey made by a motorized bicycle. And you said that has changed. It was 8,400 miles, but now how many miles do you have to go to break the record?
It was 8,400 kilometers, roughly. Okay. Now it is set, I guess most of your listeners are from the United States, so set at 7,000 miles. A young couple whose handle is Nipper and Flipper from Florida set that almost 2 months ago. So the bar is much higher, and I got another 2,000 kilometers to go. I'm on 9,000 right now, so I'm getting close.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we were talking earlier, and you said that one of your main goals is to educate the younger generation that older people aren't just sitting in front of the TV. They're out doing some amazing feats. So you want to share a little bit with our listeners?
When I was thinking of doing this, one of the things I thought about, and it happens quite a bit on television, there's a movie, oh, my grandfather's moving in with me, and we're going to have to look after him. And, he's 74 years old and things like that. And that stereotype that grandparents and older people really, after retirement, there's nothing left for them to do. I want to make sure we destroy that totally and educate all generations, actually, that there's lots of things that we can do, and we can get involved, and we can get out of our comfort zone and try new things. And you mentioned one of your guests was parachuting out of airplanes at the age
Absolutely.
of 80.
Mm-hmm. And that is definitely one of my missions, to just sort of dispel that stereotype, because age is just a number. You can continue doing whatever you want. It's about mindset. If you have in your mind that I'm 74 and I can't do anything anymore, well, that's what's going to happen.
I get criticized that people say, oh, in your mindset, you're still a teenager, but I like to think I'm a little older than a teenager.
Yeah, I put my mindset about 29. I think I'm going to stay there. So tell us exactly what a motorized bicycle or e-bike is, because I wasn't familiar with that.
Basically, it's a bicycle. It looks like a bicycle in most ways, shapes, and forms, but it has an electric motor on it that's run by batteries. One I'm riding is the Velo bicycle, the Atlas, and It has a power assist. So when I turn on the battery, I get an assist. I still have to pedal. If I don't pedal, I'm going to fall off unless I'm going down a hill. So I have to pedal, and I have 5 power assists that increase the amount of assist that I'm giving. So I usually ride with power assist 1, which is about a 50% boost in my power that it adds on to. So it makes it easier for me to pedal. It makes it a lot easier to climb the mountains that I've been climbing. And it just generally very, very comfortable to ride, and it's a pleasure to do it. And with an e-bike, most people thought, oh, you can't ride very far. You got a battery. The battery's going to die on you and things like that. But we've already ridden all the way from North Pole, Alaska down here with a 2 battery system that I use, and then we charge it at night. I don't have a throttle on it, so I cannot ride it like a motorbike. All those electric bikes do have a throttle where you can just twist the handle and you can ride it like a motorbike. I'm still interested in riding a bicycle and pedaling rather than.
Great. Okay, so how did you decide on this route going from Alaska to, well, I guess you went to Mexico City. You did Alaska to Mexico City in 2015. So how did you decide to go further and go all the way to Panama?
I always regretted that I didn't go all the way the last time we did this. The last time was with a tour group, and I think 13 of us rode from Anchorage, Alaska to Mexico City. So when I was thinking of doing this, I didn't want to ride the same route, so I changed it as much as possible to give me a different view of the country, such as the interior of British Columbia rather than coming down the Alberta side of the Rockies. The Pacific coast of the United States was incredible.
I bet that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's outstanding. And then I went down the Baja Peninsula and took the ferry over to Mazatlan. This time I came down the other side through the Sonora Desert and 109-degree heat and sand and things like that. So I'm going to 2/3 of the route is different than the one I took before. And then the other parts, well, you just can't escape it. In Alaska and the Yukon, there's basically one road, so you got to ride it no matter what. And some things occur. The Pan American Highway is what we're trying to follow most of the way.
Okay. And how are you received along the way? Do people, they know what you're doing, or when you stop, maybe people will know about it? On the back of
my bike, a sign, and it's white, and it says Alaska to Panama. And that creates a lot of interest in people from, you're kidding, right? You're not doing that. Oh, you're doing it on a bike all the way. So people wave, honk horns. Yesterday, we're coming in, somebody flagged me over, and it was a reporter from the local digital newspaper in the town that we were riding through. And so he did an interview with me. They called their friend who spoke English, and she translated their questions and translated my answers. And he published an article in his digital newspaper this morning, I think it was. One of the themes that didn't occur to me when I started this, and I'm writing a book as well, one of the themes is how many people are so friendly and so giving and so nice and just happy to see somebody out on a bicycle come through their community. So it's going to be a powerful theme, I think, in the book of all the friends we made along the way.
I can imagine.
Yes, we're received tremendously well. People would say, well, aren't you afraid of going through Central America and Mexico? And I said, no, I've been here quite a bit through Mexico and parts of Central America. I'm more afraid of grizzly bears in Alaska than I am in Central America.
Did you see any grizzly bears?
We saw lots of bears, but no grizzlies. Lots of moose, fox, things like that. The wildlife was every day we stopped to let the bear cross the road. And I didn't see him, and there was a black bear eating berries. And just as I was riding up to him, all of a sudden he saw me and he stood up on his hind legs. And I better just pedal a little bit faster. I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, that would get you.
We see him and stop and wait for it to clear.
Yeah, that would make me pedal very fast. So your team, I'm assuming you have a team of people with you. Tell me a little bit about that. What does that look like?
Well, I found out that if the team is standing in the background, jumping up and down and saying, talk about me, talk about me. They're incredible.
I see some dancing behind you, actually.
Like a credible team, and it's an international team, and I wanted to do that. Kyle Walker, he's on the video and does all the video things, and he's from Chicago. Yota is from Greece, and I found out that Greece invented everything in the world that's good. That comes from Greece. And then I've got Joanna, who's from Colombia and is our Spanish-speaking person who helps a lot at border crossings, speaking Spanish, translations, and things like that. And have Wayne Grover, who rides with me every day. Two people ride with me every day. One of the other team rides, and then Wayne rides as well. So three of us are on the road each day together. So it's an incredible team, and we're working well together. We're still friends, and even after 3.5 months into this. So it's been, and we had one other, she was from Holland, and she was with us until Vancouver and did the Alaska Yukon part. And the reason she left is she did the rest of the part by car 1 year ago, and she didn't do Alaska, so she wanted to join us for the Alaska Yukon BC trip.
Nice. Okay. So how many hours on average do you ride each day?
We start somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30. Like some days it's just hard to get everybody up and it's still dark and get the camp. We have a tent trailer that we tow for accommodation when we can't find an Airbnb or we're in the middle of some remote area. Get on the road somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And we're usually finished somewhere between 4 and 5. But it depends on different things. Mechanical problems, touch wood, we haven't had many of those. Traffic, heat of the day. Like yesterday, we left at 9:30 in the morning and we got here at 7 o'clock at night. So it was a long day yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you ride pretty much all week, and then you take, for rest days, do you do like 1 day, 2 days? How does that work?
It has varied. Usually it's a 1 day, 2-night, 1 day stay we call a rest day, where we need to look after different things from maintenance of the bicycles to getting our laundry done to banking accounts or things like that. And when we get to sort of important destinations like where we are now, Puerto Vallarta, which is sort of the end of our coastal journey, and we turn inland and we got some high mountains to climb to get into Mexico City in that area. So we're taking a little bit longer just to get ready for the next section.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how, I know you stay at a lot of Airbnbs when you can find one. How did that connection happen?
Again, a lot of my good ideas come when I'm out on my bike each day, riding just as a training thing, or that's just what I do each day is go for a couple hours on my bike. And I was thinking, gee, what I'm missing is accommodation. And then I thought, a big chain, pick your chain. Most of those places are on the corner of the freeway intersections where the cars go, and you pull in there and you eat in their restaurant, and maybe you meet the receptionist, and that's about it. So I thought, if I did Airbnb, I could live in the community. I could meet some of the owners. I could walk around the district and see what was happening in the district. And for instance, here, the owner and the people came over this morning to welcome us and hear about our story and invite us down to their beach place as well. You can't get that, at least I don't think you can, with the big chains. So I was really happy. I went home and wrote a letter off to the vice president of marketing in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And about 5 minutes later, bing, my email sends, and he's answered me back, and they wanted to get involved with it. And they've been a great partner. And we've enjoyed the Airbnbs and meeting people and seeing the community up close rather than from the corner of the freeway.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And probably staying at some really beautiful places too, I'm sure. And then you also have sponsorships for the ride. Is that correct?
We have a number of sponsors. Evelo Bicycles, which is out of Seattle. It's a company that's been making electric bikes for about 12 years. We teamed up, and they supply us with the bicycle and the maintenance and provided parts and things for us as well, like spare tubes and tires. And they've been an incredible backer of us. They support the cause. The owner, the CEO of the company has done sponsored cross-country bikes before. He's driven the Pan American Highway, so he kind of knows the route that we're doing. And we wanted to promote electric bikes as a means of touring. Lots of people are touring with normal bicycles, carrying tents and all that. And we see them on the road, or at least we did up in the United States and Canada. I haven't seen anybody in Mexico yet. It's the new concept in North America, touring on electric bike. It's popular in Europe, and that's going to catch on here. And I wanted to prove also, they wanted to prove you could travel with 2 batteries and charge them up and carry on the next day.
Yeah, sounds great. So you were doing this, this is because they called it the octogenarian. So your 80th birthday, did you do anything special for it in August?
Yeah, originally I said, I got to do something for my 80th. I never thought I'd make it 80 years, so I need to celebrate. I've had enough cake and that kind of traditional thing. And I've always been an adventure cyclist, as I label myself. I like adventure, and I like doing the adventures on a bicycle. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I went through a number of topics like, I could go down the Amazon. And then I eliminated that when my friend from Peru said, you got to be eating snakes and monkeys' brains and things like that. Okay, maybe that isn't what I want. And I tried a few other things. And then I watched a series with Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman, who ride their motorcycles around the world. And the last one in that series, they rode an electric motorcycle from the bottom of Argentina to Los Angeles. And then it clicked on me, hey, I can do that. I'll ride an electric bike from North Pole, Alaska to Panama City. And I published that I would be 80 in Newport, Oregon on August 19th. Well, a number of friends from various locations in Costa Rica and Canada and the United States, we'll come for your birthday party. And then it got, now I got a deadline. I can't have these people flying into Portland and be arrived 2 or 3 days late. So that put a lot of pressure on to keep the wagon train moving down the highway to get there at time. So we ended up with about 20 people in Newport, Oregon for the 80th birthday. Had a nice brew pub down on the beach. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds nice. How does your family feel about this and what you do? Do they travel along with you?
Right now, Gloria's here. My wife is here, and she flew in to just be the 3 days here, and then she's going to fly back again. My daughter and granddaughter and her husband have been a great supporter of me over the years, and she thinks it's just awesome that I'm out doing something rather than living in her basement or something like that line.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. And I'm sure they are very proud of you. I think it's a really incredible thing that you're doing. Now, I know along with the ride, you're trying to beat the, record, but also are you raising money for something on this ride?
Yes. If any of your listeners would like to donate, it's all about, originally when I published on Facebook and some of the Facebook groups I belong to, people would say, I hope you come and stay with us, and offered us accommodation. Corinne in Fairbanks, Alaska, offered us their home for 3 days while they were away in a bicycle race in Seattle, in Washington. So we stayed there. And then Nina in Panama, just over the border from Costa Rica, they offered us accommodation when we got there. So in talking with Nina, she said, why do you start in Fairbanks? Why don't you start in North Pole, Alaska? I said, I never heard of the place. I went on and looked it up, and yes, there's a city called North Pole, Alaska, and it's about 20 about 12 miles south of Fairbanks, like almost part of Greater Fairbanks. She said, if you start there, Santa Claus has his home there, a big Christmas store with the world's largest Santa Claus. And when you get down to Panama, it'll be December and it'll be time for Christmas. Why don't you raise some money for presents for children in Panama? And but they created the idea. We started North Pole, raised roughly 2,000 Canadian. That's probably about 1,500 US dollars. And the lady in Panama, Nina, is going to put that into the all the expatriates down there, hold a Christmas party for the children in their neighborhood. So it'll go in there and they'll buy some presents. And when we ride through, we'll have a time at the school or something with the children. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that Corinne and Nina are the very best friends, and they didn't know I was talking to each other. And with a little bit of luck, Corinne, who started it, will end up in Panama at the end to visit her friend Nina at the time. So it turned out to be a pretty good idea, and it was just something that was missing. I wasn't given anything back before this idea came about.
Yeah, and I think what a great idea. So you're giving something to the children, and then also the children are seeing what you're doing at 80 years old. So what an inspiration.
I might mention that one of the team members, Joanna from Colombia, is a very petite lady, about 95 pounds and under 5 feet tall, but a super strong mountain bike rider. And when she rides with me and she's about 43, I think, when she rides with me in her spandex and her helmet, lots of times the young girls where we stop are really impressed that they're seeing a petite young lady accomplishing the daily rides that she's putting in, up to 100 miles a day kind of thing. So she's influencing some of the young, maybe get away from the computer or TikTok or whatever they're on.
Get out and do something. Yes, absolutely. And then if people want to donate, do they just go to your website? Is that where they would find the information?
Yes, set up a donation page there that they can donate for it. They can go in and give as much as they want, and we'll send that down to Panama to Nina there, just over the border, and she can buy whatever is appropriate for the children in that area.
Okay, great. And what is your website so that we'll definitely publish this too?
It's octoodyssey.com, and just go to the menu and there will be a button to click on that would take you to donation as well.
Okay, great. And then one last question for you. Are you planning another adventure after this one? Do you have something on the horizon?
Yes. The team is getting excited now. They're running around. When we get to Panama, we're only half the way. There's still South America to do. Most of the people we meet on the road are going all the way. The problem that occurs with this particular, we arrived there in December, and December, of course, in Argentina and Chile is their summertime. If we were to keep going, we would end up in the high mountains of Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina in the middle of winter. Ooh. So we're going to take 6 months off and wait for the seasons to roll around again, so that when we do start in Colombia in end of June, I think, we'll end up in the bottom of Argentina during their summertime, and we're not trapped up in the high mountains in a blizzard. So,
yeah, that's good planning.
Yeah, but, the book that I'm writing, I entitled this one, The Octogenarian Odyssey, Trading the Sofa for a Bicycle Seat. The sequel will be I Can't Stop Pedaling. It will be the story of the South American Odyssey at that time.
Right. Well, I look forward to reading it when it's published. It's just fascinating, and I just love that you're out there and being an inspiration for others of all ages. It
is, and I think, if we're talking to seniors as your main audience, and that it's so much easier now to be traveling. When I first started back in 1968 or something like that, the communication, you and I talking like this. When I started traveling as a young man and with my wife at that time, we were in Australia, and the only way we get information is to wait for the post to come with an audio tape that was 2 or 3 weeks old, and vice versa. Now, with WhatsApp and Zoom and everything else, you got instant communication. It's a lot easier to travel. You can work on the road. I think that because we're 80, that it's impossible to travel. You can still be in touch with all your loved ones and whatever projects you're doing and things like that.
Yeah.
If you could about the flying time, that's still the thing that bugs me a lot, is getting on a plane and 12 hours later you get off at Tel Aviv. That's life.
Yeah. Hey, it's worth it to get to the destination, right?
Rent a bicycle when you get there.
Well, great. Well, it has been so wonderful getting to meet you and talk to you. So thank you so much for taking some time to do the podcast on your rest day.
Well, thank you so much as well. And I don't know whether you have listeners in Canada, but it's Canadian Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in Canada. I'm going to try and find a turkey somewhere here in Portobello and celebrate. And thanks for being patient and waiting for me to get to a rest day where you and I could get together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wish you well on the rest of your journey, and we will put your website on this and share this with all of our listeners. And again, thank you so much for taking time, and good luck on the rest of your journey.
Thank you.